the Golden State Warriors focusing on the future of the franchise rather than maximizing Steph Curry's career and building around him was a huge mistake. Because let's look at who was supposed to be the future of the Warriors. You know, the two timeline plan, as Joe Lacob described it. Joe Lacob, Bob Myers, and now Mike Dunleavy had made a huge mistake because Jordan Poole, focusing on him as the future of the franchise, I would be totally on board with it. But now Jordan Poole has been shipped out. We saw Jordan Poole be a huge contributor in the 2022 season. Went and beat a very good Miami team without any of the main starters. He's gone. The rest of them, you cannot build around the future. James Wiseman is still in Indiana. He tore his Achilles, but he's pretty much done in this league. Moses Moody is not a good player by any stretch. If he was in any other team in the league, he'd be out the league. And then Kuminga is just not panning out. At what point do you say you drafted poorly as well? Not to mention just the GM being a total doofus, along with the owner, because they're like, Podziemski is a vital part of this organization. They turned a trade down for Podziemski for Lauri Markkanen because Podziemski was the future. And now you can't afford Lauri Markkanen because he signed a huge contract in Utah. But other than Jordan Poole, they have drafted terribly. Okay, they missed on Wiseman. They could have had a LaMelo. They could have had a Halliburton. You could have had an Obi Toppin. Okay? There's levels of missing, and you missed eyes closed swinging because Obi Toppin may not be a superstar, but he's a huge contributor on a very good team. And he gives you size and a lob threat who can score in the clutch. Fine, you missed on the number 2 pick terribly. One of the biggest busts in NBA history. Fine. You have another draft where you have the 7th and 14th pick. At 7, you get Kuminga. Guess who's drafted 8? Franz Wagner, who was averaging 24 points a game, 5 rebounds a game, almost 5 assists per game on 46% shooting, who is a bona fide star you missed out on. Okay, well, you got the 14th pick in the draft. You can make up for it. You know, if you miss on one, just don't miss on both. You go Moses Moody. You know who's drafted 15th? Shane Goon. Shane Goon's averaging 20 points a game, 10 rebounds a game, 5 assists on 50% shooting. You missed terribly in this draft. So you wanted to focus on the future of the franchise when Steph is gone. There's going to be no future of this franchise. You were going to be the team that is dead last in the league. They're making the same mistake the Chicago Bulls made with Jordan, thinking that, oh, well, after Jordan's gone, we're going to win more and more championships. You know, we'll focus on a newer, younger generation. Guess what? They have not been back to the finals since Jordan. And you look at the Los Angeles Lakers. I hate the Lakers, but they did a much better job focusing on building around LeBron James. And they're in a much better situation than the Warriors are because LeBron has a much better surrounding cast, right? But you can argue no team is better set for the future than the Lakers because now they have a young Luka Doncic with a DeAndre Ayton. Luka who's made the finals. DeAndre Ayton who's made the finals. There's no Luka-type player on the Warriors for the future. What they did is they had that great young surrounding core, and they traded him in a better surrounding core, young core, than the Warriors have ever had. They had a Julius Randle. They had Lonzo. They had Brandon Ingram. By the way, 2 guys who've made All-Stars. And they traded him for Anthony Davis. They win a championship with AD. AD's playing phenomenal, and they turned AD's contract into Luka. Who are the Warriors going to be left with when Steph Curry retires? Podziemski?